Welcome to the MMA Forum Podcast. I'm your host, Don Rifle, and you people are obviously very intelligent because you're tuning in to me and you're going to hear my picks for this weekend's fight card. Conor McGregor versus Dennis Siver. We've been waiting a while for this. It's an interesting fight. Big favorite against big underdog. We'll have a look into that one. So what I'm going to do here, because I like a bet every now and again. Bit of a gambler. Not too much. Just a few accumulators every time a UFC pops around. So I might put $5, $10, $1 on an accumulator. Pick 4 or 5 different accumulators. And it makes for an exciting evening of fighting. Adds to the tension a little bit. So what I'm going to do for you guys is pick 6 or 7 fights and tell you how I think they're going to go. And then you can mix and match those into your accumulators how you like. A couple of methods of victory, or you can just bet on the guys to win. Depends on how much money you want to win at the end of the day. So, the first fight I'm going to look at is Lorenz the Monsoon Larkin versus Doomsday Howard. Now, Howard hasn't been bringing much doom anywhere in the last year or two. So, as far as knockouts go, you might think, well, he doesn't have much of a chance of knocking this guy out. But then you would have a look at Lorenz Larkin's record, and you will see he's lost 3 fights in a row. He lost to Derek Brunson by unanimous decision. He got knocked out by Costa Philippou and Brad Tavares unanimous decision. He beat Chris Camozzi. Let's face it, Chris Camozzi didn't fight with his brain too much. And, he's a good fighter, but he was cut for a reason. And then Larkin lost to Francis Carmot before that. Now, up to that point, he'd been fighting in Strikeforce. And he'd been doing well. He'd beaten the likes of Vellante, Robbie Lawler, guys like that. But since he's come to the UFC, he's been decidedly underwhelming. That's what I'd say of him. And I think he's going to try to overwhelm. I think he's desperate for a win, because if he doesn't win, he's getting cut. And he's going to try and, go in there and knock out John Howard quite early. That's what John Howard wants, because that allows him to counterpunch, which is what he loves to do. If he's moving forward, John Howard, he's going for the takedown. He's going to line you for 3 rounds and get a decision. But if Lorenz Larkin comes forward, which he has to in this fight, he's fighting for his career. Howard's going to counterpunch him. He's going to knock him out. So I see this one going KO John Howard. If Larkin does dance and doesn't take this too seriously, then Howard could win it by decision. But I just don't see Larkin taking this fight in any way, shape, or form. Next, we got Paddy the Hooligan Houlihan. He's from my hometown in Ireland. And this guy's a very good, promising fighter. He lost his last fight. He made a couple of mistakes and got unanimous decisioned by Chris Calades. That was in Sweden, I think. And it just didn't go well for him. No, it was McDonald versus Safadine. That was the fight. It just didn't go well for him at all. But before that, he's got a lot of submission victories on his record. 7, I think, in total. Yeah. And this guy, he's fighting Shane Howell. It's his first fight in the UFC. No, it's his second fight in the UFC. He lost to Ray Borg by rear naked choke, a speciality of Houlihan. Houlihan's going to have a massive crowd behind him. He's going to go in there, try and sink in a choke in round 1. I see a similar result for Shane Howell as his last fight. He's going to lose by rear naked choke. Paddy might finish him with his fist, but these days, guys want to get out there without breaking their fists on people's heads. So, yeah, lock in a submission victory for Paddy Houlihan. So, we got an interesting fight. A guy called Charles Rosa, the Boston Strangler, he's now calling himself. So this guy is obviously a hometown fighter. He's going to get a lot of the crowd are going to be backing him tonight. And his debut, he was hyped up a bit. This great new young rising star, submission expert, decent on his feet, good ground and pound. But he fought Dennis Siver, and Dennis Siver schooled him. The irony of which is that Dennis Siver is getting vastly underrated for tonight's fight, or Sunday night's fight. But Siver schooled him on the ground. he almost submitted him. He hammered him on his feet a lot, and it was a pretty easy decision for the judges. Saying that though, Rosa has got talent. He had taken the Siver fight at short notice. He's at a full camp now. He's fighting this guy Soriano. Soriano just, he's lost his first 2 fights in the UFC by unanimous decision and by rear naked choke. I see Rosa going in, they'll exchange. Rosa will go for a takedown. He'll work a position. He'll sink a choke. I don't really see any other result in this fight other than a Rosa win by submission. Possible ground and pound if he rocks him standing, but I think they're going to exchange a bit. He's going to take him down. He's going to work his back. He's going to submit him. So that's your next one. Locked in. Now, we have Ron the choir boy Stallings. He's fighting Uriah Hall. Now, Uriah Hall, to be honest with you, he hasn't impressed me all that much. He calls himself Prime Time. He hasn't been prime time viewing in a while, to be honest with you. I mean, he did win his last fight by unanimous decision after his toe popped out of the skin and it was hanging off for 1.5 rounds, and he showed the guy's got heart. Maybe he did overcome something in that fight. I mean, his previous win was against Lieben, who I'm pretty sure came in on a Zimmer frame into the ring in that fight, so he was never winning. And he lost to John Howard, he lost to Gastelum, both by split decisions. But he showed in those fights that he was kind of limited in, getting up. And maybe, you wouldn't say that he quit in those fights, but he really underperformed. But the guy's fighting Ron Stallings. I think this guy's a late replacement. And, his first fight in the UFC is coming off a loss in the CFF 43 against a guy called Tim Williams. I mean, he won a couple of fights before that, 3 in a row, and he had a split decision loss. He's lost by head kick, he's lost by a KO slam, he's lost by guillotine choke. This guy, it's a big opportunity for the choir boy. Maybe he's going to go in and try take a dig off Uriah Hall and then knock him out, but I think this step up, he's going to feel some serious pain with the first Hall strike, which is going to be a kick to the body. Kick to the leg, and then he's going to back off, and then Hall's just going to go in. He's going to gradually pick him off. Maybe the guy lasts around, but Uriah Hall's going to knock him out. So Uriah Hall by KO. Pretty sure that's not going any other way. So let's move on to Norman Park versus Gleison Tibau. Now, initially I thought this was a really difficult fight to call. Both guys always going to decision. Both guys tough. Both guys, exert a lot of energy, throw a lot of strikes. The difference between them is I think Park has a little bit more energy, and I think that Tibau, he cuts like 30 pounds. He walks around at 185. I think he's cutting like 30 pounds to get to 155. And I think there's only so many times your body can do that. He's only 31, but he's fought a huge amount of fights. I feel his motivation is it's not going to be what Norman Parks is. Parks going to get crowd support. He's a Northern Irish man, but that's not going to matter to the Boston people. They'll support all the Irish that go over there. And I think Park wins this by decision. Tibau's got knocked out once in his career. I see Park trying to knock him out. He might do, but I see him winning by decision. If I was being safe, I would just pick Park to win, and method of victory, it's a trickier one because he might try for the knockout. He wants the knockout. He wants to impress, and the fans just might drive him on that extra 10% he needs to do that. Okay, then we have Cowboy Cerrone versus Benson Henderson. Now, Cerrone is just awesome. He's a mad fucker, is what he is. He's fighting for the 6th time in 12 months. His last fight against Miles Jury, he finished the fight booting Miles Jury up the ass repeatedly, at will. It was a very embarrassing moment for Jury, who still was kind of taunting him from his back, which was very strange because of the almighty beatdown he had received from the Cowboy. Now, the Cowboys lost twice to Ben Henderson before, and Henderson just got knocked out by Rafael dos Anjos. But Henderson got a who's who list of victories. He's a very hard guy to beat. It was the first time he'd ever been KO'd against Dos Anjos. He probably, I don't know what he was doing, but it happened. Now, if we look at how, he submitted Cowboy and he decisioned him. I think Cowboy was a different fighter back then. He was, he's tougher, stronger, he's better technique now. He kicks harder, he punches harder. His ground game is better. He's improved radically in his best years from the age of 27 to 31. Cowboy is now the man. And while I wouldn't still think Pettis will beat him, I don't think Benson can beat him unless Benson can somehow get this into a wrestling match and control him. I'm thinking Cowboy's practices takedown defense a lot. He's going to work knees, he's going to work kicks, he's going to work a sprawl, and I think he's going to win this fight by decision. I think he's going to try and knock Benson out, but he's not going to kick as much because he's going to be afraid of being taken down. There's going to be a lot of punching, a lot of sprawling, and then a bit later on, he's going to start throwing the kicks, and then he'll start hurting Henderson, and he'll start winning the fight. I think he takes it by decision. For a safe bet, just pick Cerrone. I'm pretty sure he's winning this. There is a chance. I give Benson a 20-25% chance of laying and praying for 3 rounds. I think it's his only way to win. But I think Donald is going to be prepared for that. He's not going to let it happen. He's too good on the ground now as well. He's going to get up if he needs to get up. And then we go to the main event of the evening. Dennis Siver versus Conor McGregor. Now McGregor says he's going to knock him out in under 2 minutes. Siver says, you can kiss my ass. So we'll have to see. Now Siver is getting seriously underrated. He's gone on good. He went on a 4-fight winning streak in the UFC at the higher weight class, 155. Beat Spencer Fisher, Andre Winner, Soteropoulos, Wyman. He lost to Cowboy. Then he beat Diego Nunes, Nam Fan. He lost to, I'm not sure if he fought Nam Fan 145, but he fought Cub Swanson. He dominated Cub Swanson for a round, and he got knocked out in round 3. Beat Manny Gamburin, schooled Charles Rosa. Dennis Siver is no joke. He's outstanding kicks, and his way to win this fight is when they meet in the center, he throws the first kick. He doesn't let Conor kick him in the face. He goes in and he kicks him first, and he pushes him, backs him up, and then takes him down and schools him on the ground. That's the only way Siver can win this fight. He has to use his kick as a jab early and fast and constant. Well, let's face it, his punching, lacks a lot of reach. That's a big Achilles heel of his. And McGregor, if he's going to come in, he's going to throw a couple of wild kicks. If he connects one of them, Siver's going to feel the power straight away. And then he's going to back off. He's going to not go onto his front foot. He's going to be on the back foot. Once he's on the back foot, the fight is over. And that can happen in 10 seconds, getting on the back foot. And then he'll just chase him around and kick lumps out of him until he breaks. So that's why Conor thinks he's going to win in under 2 rounds. That's why I think he's going to win in under 2 minutes. And that's why I think he's going to win in under 2 minutes. I think Siver has a chance if he goes in real aggressive and uses his experience and his skill and fights calm and collected, but goes in aggressive. I think he has a chance. But let's face it, McGregor's big favourite for a reason. He's the master of human movement. He's the master of the featherweight division at the moment, even though he doesn't hold the belt. Many say he will pretty soon, and if he wins this fight, we could be looking at a first outdoor stadium event for the UFC in Europe. It would be an amazing experience. But he has to get through Dennis Siver tonight. I say he will, and I say he's going to knock him out in the first round. So, I'll leave you to it. There's 6 bets for you. Was it 7 bets? 6 or 7. You can pick and choose which ones you want. You can just pick to win, or you can add in a couple of methods of victory, or you can just go method of victory on its own. Each type of those is an accumulator. It's going to win you some decent money. The more methods of victory you get right, the bigger the return. So good luck, and I'll catch you next time for the MMA Podcast with Don Rifle.